Hello and welcome, everybody. We have a very special treat for you today. My dear friend and amazing speaker and brilliant guy, Ted McGrath, is with us. Now, a couple of things. Number one, Ted is going to be speaking with us and for us at Mastermind to Millions Live in Vegas. And I got to tell you, I am more than a little bit excited about this. And I twisted his arm to make some time to, number one, share a little bit about masterminds. Number two, fill us in on a couple of little hints about what he's going to be sharing with us in Vegas. And I just want to say thank you, Ted, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here and looking forward to seeing everybody in Vegas.
Absolutely. So listen, I know we're both kind of on the clock for time these days. So I want to start with questions about masterminds. And I know that you've been a member because you and I are members of ATL together. I think that's where we initially met.
Yep.
Christian Michelson's, our paths have crossed in lots of ways. What is your most meaningful experience of participating in a mastermind? Like, what's the thing that just like, if you were to have one reason why people should be participating in masterminds, what would be that personal experience?
Well, I think that being in a mastermind it's about community. And so I don't think that somebody could predict the experience that they're actually going to have at a mastermind. And that's part of the reason why people go, well, why should I join a mastermind? And when you get into a mastermind, it is the collective opportunity really of the group. I mean, everybody's moving forward together. It's one of these things that keeps you on track because as busy as we all are, whether we're busy in a career or we're busy building our business, what happens is we tend to just get lost on that thing that we want to do and we don't do. So the mastermind for me has been the greatest thing because it's always that checkpoint of one, checking back in with the group, two, being part of a community that supports your dreams, and then three, all the opportunities. There's always some type of business opportunity that comes out of a mastermind, always. So you never know and you can never predict what that will be. But when you show up to the mastermind, that's the only way to actually get the opportunity, because if you don't show up, it doesn't happen. And so I've seen so many times people come to events and they think that, just being at the event is the grand salami. While it is the starting point, because it's a great start. You come to the event, you start getting educated, you make progress. However, running the race and racing the race is about being part of a community where you can experience this event type experience only at a much higher level all throughout the years. So for me, it's just been extraordinary because every mastermind I've ever gone to has helped contribute to the growth of my business. And the people are just amazing. You meet great relationships, like-minded people. So that's been my experience.
Cool. It's funny you say there's always a business opportunity that comes out of it. I sometimes say this, and I am, I still speak Saskatchewan and sometimes say things in not the kindest way, but it's like, honest to God, you have to be wearing your ass as a hat to come to a mastermind and not leave with 5 to 10 times the value of what it costs to get there in opportunities. Doesn't mean you're going to act on every single one, but those opportunities are there, 100 times over. So that's very cool. So I love that in terms of that experience of participating. And I know that you lead some masterminds that you're going to share with us some of the key things that you teach in some of your masterminds, all those pieces in Vegas. Yeah. What would be like one of the highlights of you leading a mastermind or serving and supporting somebody in a mastermind that just, well, I have this experience. I'm sure you have this experience. Like something happens in the mastermind and I just go home and it's like, I can't wipe the smile off my face because I'm so freaking happy for them. Have you got something like that you might want to share that might, broaden the context or the experience of what masterminds are and what actually happens in them and what results people create?
Yeah, there's something that happens from an intimacy standpoint at a mastermind, that's a live event with 100 or 200 or more people. That same experience is different in a mastermind. The intimacy that's there, the ability for the speaker who's leading it to actually connect with people on a deeper level is more powerful because it's more contained. And so, just generally, and then I'll give a specific experience, talk about the greatest opportunity in the world to lead masterminds, because in 3 weeks I'm going to Hawaii with my group and we're going to spend 4 days in Hawaii. And it's like, this is what I do for a living. And I get to, and we're everybody's going to have fun in the mornings. I'm going to shoot my launch videos in the morning for my upcoming launch. And so like, I get to shoot my videos in Hawaii. I get to hang out with my group, and it's such an enriching and fulfilling experience. And I can share with you now also is some of my best relationships are my clients. They've just become true, deep friends. And I have a friend of mine, David Mailer, who joined my mastermind several years ago. And, you know, he's a very talented person, and he works on the body and helps people, you know, with their body, and helps speakers and people get into a peak performance state with their body. So he's been a blessing to my life. And so just the whole way that we met, and, you know, him first joining the mastermind when he was so hesitant because he'd never experienced this stuff before. So here you are, you got a guy who has a gift, and he initially came to my live event as a guest, and he was there to serve me, and he sat in the audience, and all of a sudden he started waking up because he'd never heard conversations like this before about how you can build a business like this, and the lifestyle and the whole experience. And so just like the smile on my face is a guy like this now, because he came to the mastermind, because at first he's like, oh, I want to do this, but he didn't know how. And so at the end of the event, he's like, we need to continue. So he joined the mastermind. And anybody who's serious does that, right? So it's like, if you want to be educated, it's not about knowledge, it's about doing this. And so you don't get an education by just absorbing information. You got to go do it, be part of the mastermind, and implement the steps. So David showed up, he came, and it's just, you know, he now works on me. I'm a client of his too, which has been an amazing thing for him. And just watching him, and his wife came, his fiance, who had a message at the time. And so now I see like the two of them off building their business together. They're now running retreats. They both have 6-figure businesses. Both of them do.
Nice.
And so to watch something like that happen, and watch a friend go through that, it's just a cool thing. And knowing that he's part of our community now. And the other thing that puts a smile on my face is he's now leading a retreat in Hawaii on the back end of ours. So we're doing our 4 days, and the next 2 days he's doing his. So, and we supported it, and we promoted him to do this because we believe in the work. So it's not to say that we promote everybody. However, like the proximity of like somebody who joins your mastermind, Jay, to be in proximity to you and Josh is like, it's priceless, because, you know, what do we all want? We want to shorten the runway, right? Because if the runway is too long to get somewhere, people they tend to trip up more. And so if you can get on the runway faster, and you can get with people like Jay, and you can get coach, you shorten the time for liftoff. And at the same time, you open your opportunity for just me being around great people. And, you know, the reality is like, you have to invest to do that. I mean, there's plenty of times I've invested to be part of all the masterminds that we've been a part of. There's always an investment, you know, and I just think that sometimes people go, well, I want to do this thing. And, you know, they tend to, you know, pinch pennies in their business of like, when they enroll clients, they try and accommodate, and they try and do all these things. And, you know, I think the best part about learning from people who've done it is like, you know, understanding people is one thing, but if you have to accommodate everything because they don't have the money mindset, that's why they should be in the mastermind, because it doesn't happen the other way around. You don't all of a sudden one day wake up and all of a sudden the money's pouring into your bank account, right? Yeah, you have to make these decisions. Yeah. You have to make these decisions to stretch you. So the event's one thing, but the mastermind's the next, because that's where the stretching comes of the thinking. And when your clients lead their masterminds, they're going to experience the same thing, right? So for them to enroll people, for them to do and build their coaching business, they have to experience it, because then they'll understand what it is.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, there are people I know who are watching this who are still on the fence. It's like, should I go to Vegas or shouldn't I go to Vegas? Or what should I do? And it's like, you know, the simple truth is this: you don't get to win for the most part unless you show up. And that showing up piece is imperative. And, you know, anyway, I want to echo everything that you said. And if you're on the fence and you are committed to masterminds, I just want to say this as clear as I can. We run the single best event on planet Earth to serve and support coaches, experts, authors to get their masterminds up and running. There's nowhere else you can begin to touch what we serve you with. So anyway, if you're sitting on the fence, get the hell off the fence and get your ass to Vegas. But on that note, let's incent them more for Vegas. So you were going to be speaking with us in Vegas on Friday.
Yes.
And I know you have an incredibly broad range of both topics and opportunities and all those sorts of things. Could you give us like the high level of what the conversation is going to be, what you're going to teach, and how that's going to help them with masterminds? And what are the 2 key points? We're after the bait to get their ass to Vegas.
Yeah. I got it. So story and message, just to give you, like, those are the two things. Like my whole brand is Message to Millions, and it's about helping people really find their life story. Because for me, it's been the most personal and transformational journey, is being able to look at my life and look at my story. So
Can
I
I
want to,
pause you for a moment?
yeah, go for it.
And I just want to connect a dot for our viewers. So for those of you who are Launch Your Mastermind 90-day bootcamp purchasers, and that's how you got your ticket to Mastermind to Millions Live, the reason I chose and invited Ted to come do this is that he has this process around story that is necessary for most of you to really nail perfect positioning, which is module 1 of our program, Ted. And if people get perfect positioning down, the rest of it is a cakewalk. But honest to God, it's where they get tripped up most, which is why we asked you. So I just wanted to connect those dots that Ted is going to be giving you context and framework that will make the perfect positioning work easier than it has ever been. So anyway, I'll just please continue.
Yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of times people find their message from default, where they're just like, they're part of their journey and it just like comes to them, and that's part of their story. So it's like, it just naturally happens. It's like, oh, here's my message. However, I think for people to get more deeply ingrained in their message and to make their marketing more personal and to make the connection more powerful, when you go into a story, and especially go into the pit of a story, because the pit is like that vulnerable moment where, you know, for me, I was on the kitchen floor and I just cracked 6 figures in the insurance business. And, you know, I go out that night and what's supposed to be a celebration, I find myself on the kitchen floor, overdosed from a bag of cocaine, 2 pills of ecstasy, and 15 drinks, and my soul coming out of my body, looking up to my brother for my last breath. And, you know, if that's not a sobering moment, right? So I recover from it, and then I go on and I keep going on this search. And so, you know, you'll hear the rest of the story in Vegas. But the amazing thing is that, like, my willingness to go into that pit and start sharing that with people is just allowed me to go deeper and deeper and deeper into my story, which has pulled out a deeper message, because I believe in your story is your life lessons. So if you look at your story right now and you look at a pit moment that you had, a lot of times people are afraid to share that pit moment. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, if you share it, there's a lesson in there. It's something you've been through that you could teach other people. And so, you know, most people will go, I'm not an alcoholic, or I didn't have drugs. Well, you don't have to. People come watch my story. And, you know, I even do a theater show on my life story. I just did it 2 weeks ago. And it's just an amazing experience, because they watch me on 90 minutes on stage doing 15 different characters. And my journey is like my search for meaning and truth. So some people take away the alcohol experience. Some people take away the search for truth. Some people take away the experience I had of pushing my family away. Some people take away like striving for, achievement goals and not being fulfilled. Like, everybody will take away a different message from your story. So our job is not what they take away. Our job is to tell our truth and know that they will take away something if it's a truth. And then our job is to extract the lessons and then tell them what we want to tell them at the end of the story, right? Because that's how you tie in the bridge. It's like, well, people will go, how does my story relate to this topic I'm teaching? The thread's there. Like, there's no way you would be teaching the topic right now if the thread wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. So somehow there's been this thread through your life that led you to this topic that you want to teach, or this gift that you want to share with the world. So the thread is absolutely there. So all a gifted storyteller does is takes the thread throughout the story, and the key to a story is having a thread, making sure you tie it from the beginning, right? Otherwise, it's like, verbal diarrhea. People are all over the place, right? So you got to find the thread, tie it in all the way to the end, and then link the thread to your credibility, right? You call it perfect positioning. It's like, yeah, the perfect positioning would be close the loop at the end to go, and here's how this has manifested in my life and created all of this stuff, right? And then you're tying in the vulnerability and the credibility. But, if you sit there going, well, my story doesn't relate to my what I'm doing and what I'm teaching now, it always relates. You just need to tie the thread and tie the message. And that's the beautiful thing about story, which then leads to a message, right? Because then you pull out the message from that, and then that's your marketing. And that's changed my business.
Beautiful. Now, I love what you say, is that there's always a thread. And you and I actually, I think, both fervently believe that. I think sometimes as well, people just aren't willing to accept or acknowledge the thread. Right. And I think part of one, well, I don't think, I know one of the reasons why Joshua and I invited you to do this is when people are willing to own those pieces, I think that it opens up this whole new door and opportunity of what can transpire. Do you have any thoughts? and we might be going down the path, a little further than we want. But do you have any thoughts for people that that just aren't ready to own it yet? And it's like, you know what, I'm just not there yet. I know I'm going to, but I'm not quite there yet. Any sort of words of wisdom for somebody struggling with that, and how Vegas might help them?
Yeah, because for me, what I've discovered and learned from my mentors is it's a gradient. Mm-hmm. Because if you go too steep into anything, your chances of, I know from my experience, my chances of failure and my chances of withdrawing are just they're bigger. And it doesn't mean you can't make big decisions, because you can make big decisions and do big things. It's just there needs to be steps to walk you up on a gradient so that, I got this, there's a win for me. I got this, there's another win for me. I got this, there's another win. And storytelling is the same thing. People will come watch my story at 90-minute theater show, and there's experiences around sex when I was a kid, and there's my parents' divorce, and there's all this stuff, and there's drugs and overdose. And so people go, I could never share those things that you share. My family sits in the audience, watches the show. It's a vulnerable thing, right? Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I've had these conversations with them. So before they come to the show, I'm sharing with them what my experience was. And so this connection and this conversation I have with my family has created transformation, which has allowed me to tell the show. So I'm not saying go into your pit moment and dive and tell us everything right off the bat if it's going to create, a tidal wave in your life. But what I am saying is you can take a little step towards that story and share one thing with us that would be not easy for you. It would be something that would be easy to do, but it might be a little bit of stretch in your comfortability doing it, right?
Yeah.
So you do a little piece, a little piece, a little piece. I didn't find my whole story. It took 5-6 years, and it's not even all done. So I would just say, if you're brand new, it's okay. You don't have to look at somebody like Jay or somebody like me and go, I got to tell everything. You just need to start where it's comfortable for you. And that goes the same thing when you join any program. It's don't stop joining a program or coming to an event, even coming to Vegas, because you're thinking to yourself, maybe I'm so brand new. That's the purpose of coming into the room, because if you're brand new, great, right? And that's the purpose of coming to a mastermind. Even if you're behind on the gradient, you'll take the steps you need to get there so that you can actually end up where the person you're looking at is.
Beautiful. Great. Love that story, because we all need that place to start. And I think that's one of the things I want to let people know about Vegas, is that we attract an amazing crew of people. And it is from what I'm going to call, in the mastermind world, absolute beginners all the way through to people who've been doing it for eons. And, our tribe includes, last year, gold medal Olympic winning athletes, ex-US senators, people who literally just got their coaching certificate, and everyone in between. But I got to tell you that the culture and the community of people willing to, step up, face themselves, serve their clients, and own themselves and their gifts is absolutely stunning. So wherever you are on that gradient, for goodness sake, get your ass to Vegas. So Ted, honest to goodness, that is that helps me a ton. I trust it has inspired some of you at home to come to get that positioning lined up. And you've heard me say this before, if you're bootcamp members, the positioning is the single greatest aspect. We get the positioning right, which fundamentally is, who are you to lead this tribe, which you get to tell through a story? Who are your ideal tribe members so that you can resonate with them? And honest to God, it's like a neon flashing sign on their forehead when you get this right. You just absolutely know. And what is the promise of your group? And Ted will support you in clarifying 2 elements of that. We're going to help you in a bunch of activities supporting the other 2 elements, the promise in your tribe. And that overlap will catapult you forward. So Ted, I want to thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. So literally you're leaving from our Mastermind to Millions event to get on the plane to go to Hawaii to lead a mastermind.
Yeah, I'm coming from Greece to your event and flying out that night to Hawaii to lead a mastermind. Yeah.
Yeah. So we might be, small believers in this idea. It kind of works.
All right, one more thing for everybody at home is just, I have the feeling sometimes too that, this video is such a great thing because it gets you back in communication with maybe an email you got a while ago and now all of a sudden you're disconnected from the idea of it. And now you get this video and it's like the communication you might need now to say, oh, I'm coming. Because that happens to me all the time. Like I get out of communication for a while, I get this story in my head. And then once I get back in communication or I see something about the event that I want to go to, I'm like, what was I thinking, not thinking about going, right?
Yes.
So hopefully this got you back in communication and it's okay, whatever you're feeling around it. if you feel resistance, it's not because, in my experience, it's not because I don't want to go do the thing. It's because I just needed that communication to get me moving and go. So I hope to see you all there.
Beautiful. Thanks, brother. We will see you soon. I can't wait to hear more about the story piece. I know I got some tweaks and adjustments I must make with mine. So I look forward to learning with you.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.